Yo, what's up? With the new Burma battlefield coming out, sadly not this week, but surely next week, we're not just gonna get new items, but also some significant balance changes, making some weapons and vehicles much stronger than before, others weaker than before. So, in order to avoid you getting surprised during your battles, wondering why the enemy suddenly destroyed you in a situation that wouldn't have led usually to that outcome, I'm gonna give you a quick overview over the 3 most important balance changes coming with the new update. And we start with the change that is guaranteed to make the battlefield shake, and it's the ability to release your bombs and rockets one by one. For those who don't know, and there are quite a lot of Enlisted players who never play planes, if you look at an average plane and you see it has multiple bombs, what basically always happens is that if you have a series of exact bombs, of same bombs, they will be released in pairs. So you can't, right now at least not, drop these 4 bombs separately. You will always drop 2 of them at the same time. Now this is historically accurate, since you don't want to create imbalance on your wings by releasing just one. So you will always release 1 on each wing. Alright, makes sense. But there are also planes who have just 3 bombs right at the center of them. So for them it doesn't make sense to release multiple bombs at once. You always should be able to release just 1 bomb. And once again, for planes that only have little bombs, out of play power reasons, game power reasons, you want to drop multiple small bombs anyway, because the chance of missing with a small bomb is very high, even if you aim perfectly well. And their explosion radius is so small, artificially nerfed in Enlisted, that you rather have a second bomb land close by, or like a couple meters next to it, to get as much of an area damaged as possible. So for little bombs it doesn't change much. But there are some planes who become much better than they used to be. And some of them were already good, but now they become extremely dangerous. Other planes were unplayable, and now they become actually playable and really good. So we're going to look at the planes for every nation that profits the most from this. For this we can ignore the rocket planes, because rockets are so heavily nerfed in the game and are so imprecise that spamming rockets on the ground is the only way to actually play them. Which is also historically accurate, by the way, because rockets in real life, especially World War II, were by no way precise. One of the reasons why you needed 10 rockets on the P-47, because you can't expect even with a great pilot to hit something even if you just shoot 4 rockets. Yeah. Especially if the wind is a bit faster than usual or the air humidity is too high. Rockets are easily influenced by every single parameter, even if the target is just driving away. Yeah, rockets are way too imprecise. They only work if you saturate the ground. So for them, not much is changing. You still want to release multiple rockets at once. It's even better, possibly, arguably, under the current system, to release 2 rockets simultaneously by default, since now with the coming system you will have to click R 10 times to release your 10 rockets. Well, I'd rather click it just 5 times if I really want to make sure that everything under me, what I see right now, dies. Because if you see 10 to 15 targets, you rather kill them than just fly around and hope you possibly get more in the future. So yeah, for rockets we don't really have to care, but we have to care about the bomb planes. And here the 4 greatest, actually 5, biggest winners of this new change. First of all, for the Soviets, as you can see, their early planes, even to mid planes, they all have either small bombs or medium bombs. So either 50 or 100 kilogram bombs. For 50 kilogram bombs, you want to release multiple at once. Otherwise, your chance to kill groups of infantry, and especially killing tanks, is way too low. Yes, you can kill a King Tiger with a 100 kilogram bomb. Yes, I've killed multiple King Tigers already with a BR-2 fighter plane, just hitting it with the 100 kilogram bomb. But you need to hit it precisely next to the tank. And the tank needs to be precisely not too smartly placed or too quickly driving away. So you still want to saturate the ground with multiple small bombs. So the planes profiting the most from this are the ones with the heavy 250 kilogram bombs. Because for them, you don't want to release 2 at once. For them, especially if you have good aim, you want to drop only 1. And the planes that are affected by this for the Soviets are only the late war ones. Well, also there's this one Lend-Lease plane, but it also only has 100 kilogram bombs. If you enter BF5, you will see you get 2 heavies on your IL-10. IL-10, one of the greatest planes in the game. Not due to its flying characteristics, but to its insane firepower and strong armament. And it comes with 2 heavy bombs, and yeah, guess what? Releasing them, you rather have 2 separate releases, because this way, since nothing is going to defeat you in the air, you can literally blow up twice as much. So this plane is a big winner, and also one of the newest additions to the Soviets, the I-185 fighter plane, comes also with 2 heavy bombs. And yeah, this one is the opposite of the IL-10. Regarding the flying characteristics, it comes with insanely good ones, especially the climb rate, and very good speed for a Soviet plane. Yep, also good cannons. Like you won't have any problems killing enemy planes of the Germans with this. And now you can also bomb twice, which is especially good for a fighter, because yeah, his strafing power isn't that strong. So yeah, these 2 planes are the biggest winners for the Soviets. Soviets BF5 are gonna be very happy about these changes. They won't be happy about having to fight against the new MG42s. But yeah, this is something that at least mitigates it. Then, for the burghers, well, for the burghers, you won't find that many planes to actually profit. But there's one plane, and it's the one I least expected it to be, at least not the placement. Because early on you have weak bombs and planes which are, well, great with their rockets and not with their bombs. But then, right in the center, we get good old P-51D. Yes, we get a good old, reliable. This plane is already, I can't glaze it enough, insanely strong, insanely overpowered, especially for its BR3 ranking. But now it becomes even better, because it can also drop its heavy bombs separately. This means this fighter plane, which comes with some of the best flying characteristics seen in the whole game, will be an even better plane now, because now you can kill twice as many tanks and twice as much infantry on the ground as before. And all of this in a BR3 plane that I'm playing in my BR5 lineup. So yeah, this Mustang, one of the biggest winners once again. Yes, this plane just keeps getting better and better, which is just amazing. And then for the Germans, well, there's a big winner, an obvious one, and there's a hidden winner. Now, first of all, the hidden winner, and it's a basically unplayable Stuka, because these Stukas are quite in a sad state. There are 4 Stukas in the game. There's this triplet, and there's the R2. The R2-1 comes with very bad machine guns, the classically bad Stuka flying characteristics, though in real life they weren't as bad as in Enlisted. But it comes with a heavy bomb. Alright, heavy bomb doesn't really get any change with the new update. But for those wondering, yeah, this heavy bomb is sadly very weak because it's nerfed. It behaves more like a 350 kilogram bomb compared to a 500 kilogram bomb. So yeah. Regarding the other Stukas, you have the beginner Stuka, which is, yeah, then you have the actually great Stuka that I recommend playing, the one with 20mm cannons. For this, nothing gets changed. It just changes that you have to click faster now with your little bombs. But here comes the big winner, the D3 Stuka with 3 heavy bombs. It's a Stalingrad version, which, as you can see, makes sure that nothing in Stalingrad keeps standing. Yeah, these 3 heavy bombs were released 2 and 1, but not anymore. Now you can release them separately, and this actually makes it useful. Only problem though, it still has horrible weapons, horrible flying characteristics, and it's BR3. So, if it was BR2, it actually is one of the planes that can be ranked down, since it's not even, let's put it this way, there are planes, for example the British, that come with, like the Dauntless, that come with a 500 pounder and 2 little bombs, and actually heavy machine guns, and better flying performance than the Stuka on BR2. But the Germans get this Stuka, which is stuck in BR3, where you get insane competition. So yeah, this plane is literally underpowered, even after the update. So yeah, it needs to be down tiered. But yeah, for those who haven't flown it yet, but want to try it out, it actually becomes useful now. But here's the big winner, and I think it's quite obvious. Placement, it's the Junkers 108. Yes, the medium bomber with 6 heavy bombs. With 6 heavy bombs that were dropped in pairs, but not anymore. You can drop now 6 times 1 heavy bomb. And guess what? This changes a lot. Since you can perfectly make sure you bomb a straight line through the whole battlefield and nothing on that line survives. Or you can just bomb 2 or 3 bombs while flying towards the enemies after spawning. Then you make a turn, then you drop 2 times more. And then you make another half turn, drop 2 times more, 1 times more. Then you turn again, drop 1 times more, and then you resupply. So yeah, now you can literally circle over the battlefield and bomb the whole area multiple times. Yeah. This is just insane. This damage output will be colossal. Only problem are still the, well, let's say bugged tail gunners that you have. You have 4 of them, but they barely hit anything. Yeah, which is sad, but okay. Still, yeah, this is the obvious German winner of this. And then for the Japanese, we have a very welcome one. And it's the B5N2. Now, this plane is also in quite a sad state. It has high potential because despite its slow speed, it has one of the best turn rates in the whole game. And you can literally fly or fall 90 degrees down and then pull up in front of a tree and not hit the tree and survive. This plane is one of the most acrobatic planes in the game. Only problem is you don't have a machine gun, you only have a tail gunner, meaning you can't hit anything in front of you, which by the way in real life was changed, but yeah, Enlisted we get the bad version. And also you released your bombs together, but now this will change and we will actually get a plane that can drop some good loads. Though still the same problem, why is it a BR2 plane? Absolutely no reason for a BR3 plane. Absolutely no reason for that. Literally still weaker than the American Dauntless. So yeah, but yeah, this is the big Japanese winner. Finally a little plane that's fun to fly, but also good looking, but very underpowered, that will become quite playable. Alright, so these are the changes for the planes. What does it mean for the rest? Well, for infantry, it doesn't mean that much. Yeah, planes will be able to bomb more often, but this affects tanks the most. Now, for tanks, why is it so relevant? Simple. If you look at anything that's big and metally on the ground, tanks obviously are preying on infantry, since they are hard to kill by infantrysts, especially from far away, but they don't have any problems themselves killing infantry. And then you have a rock, paper, scissors system, where planes are preying on the tanks, since tanks can't really defend themselves well against planes. And tanks, especially well played, especially well equipped, and especially after this upcoming update, will be very easily able to blow up tanks. But on the other hand, planes aren't that strong against infantry, and infantry's, well, indirectly defeats planes, because since planes can't affect the ground that well, you can just win the game by capping objectives with infantry. And so plane pilots won't have that much impact, at least in most cases. And also infantry can build anti-air guns. Yeah, so yeah, this is the rock, paper, scissors systems in the Enlisted. The problem with tanks now is the new update is gonna bring new bazookas to the Americans. Alright, this is a little, not much. Then maybe like a 1% nerf. But okay, let's say overall roughly 1%. Then tanks constantly get nerfed, especially their explosive power. Alright, another nerf. Then their HE shells are bugged, meaning they don't properly explode. Alright, another nerf. And now with the upcoming update, more bombs being dropped on them, or bombs being more often dropped on them, is also another nerf. So we are stacking so many nerfs on top of tanks that they literally start to suffer. They literally start to suffer. The only thing that actually saved tanks a little bit was the very stupid change regarding engineer squads. making their anti-tank guns overall weaker. Since, well, most often they will be weaker now, especially on low BR, than they used to be, due to the implementation of the very weak anti-tank guns for low BR. Yep, this helped the tanks survive more often, but also at the expense of infantry. So basically everything gets nerfed. It's a red race to the bottom, which is just stupid game design. But yeah, tanks are the loser out of this. Also, tanks suffer from from things like overheating. If you look at the Germans, for example, they have their self-propelled anti-air, which is the Flakpanzer 1. Yes, actually the weakest version of a German tank you can come up with. And this thing, well, it's already as weak as it gets. It has basically no armor, it's slow as hell, it only has 2 members in the crew, and it only has a 20mm, only one, not even multiple, and it's open top, no defense. And on top of it, it overheats. But what is the nerf in this? Well, normal anti-air guns don't overheat anymore, because it was a stupid mechanic everyone hated. But these things still overheat, because they were literally forgotten to be updated. So yeah, tanks are getting the short end of the stick non-stop in Enlisted. So yeah, we need to start a petition to help the bullied tanks get some light, because they're just in a very bad state. Alright, so much for the vehicles. What about infantry? Because they get a double nerf. First nerf is the implementation of some machine guns, especially for the Germans. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means that machine guns will become a bigger part of Enlisted, especially on high BR, than they used to be. This is overall a big net plus, because currently high BR is dominated by very brain-dead select fire spam. Meaning everyone is playing these rifles, which are very cool, but extremely monotonous if everyone is running around with 9-man rifleman squads using these. So yeah, which is obviously also bad for a game if there's one clear, very brain-dead strategy that everyone is copying, and there's no reason to play something else. Because good game design is, even if there is one dominant strategy, you can come up with a strong counter strategy that always defeats this strategy, but is weak against other strategies. Because if you have that, then you can create a meta game where there are different strategies and they all prey on each other, and you can actually have some skillful, interesting games. Right now, this is not the case. Right now, select fire rifles are just straight overpowered, which got even worse recently when they got their recoil reduced, making them even easier to use than they were before. And the worst thing of this, they are so strong, they make even assault rifles obsolete. Assault rifles in theory are stronger in terms of being much easier to use, since they have even less recoil, and they're easier to aim, making the chance for headshots a bit higher. But the biggest problem is they require assaulters. And even though assaulters are already the easiest and most brain-dead squad in the game, rifleman squads can have 9 soldiers with MG42s. Yes, which is a problem in high BR, whereas assaulters can only have 7 soldiers. So you see the problem? This creates a very stale and boring situation. Now, what's a good solution? Well, you don't want to buff everything else, because then you create insane power creep. You could theoretically nerf the select fire weapons. Yeah, this would be, though it has to be an intelligent, creative type of nerf, which is something Darkflow is not known for. So, well, there's one good thing. Just add the obvious missing stuff to the game. The things that really deserve a buff. And these are machine guns, because machine guns are basically, well, they're significantly underpowered. Because A, their damage is very low compared to what they would do in real life. Guess how much damage such a barrel with a full cartridge would deal to you? Yes. A funny illustrious story is from American soldiers in the Western campaign who were under MG42 fire, and the soldier reported that he got wounded and evacuated before the Battle of the Bulge started, saving his life. And the reason why he was wounded wasn't because he was hit by this thing. No, this would mean he would be dead. No, he got wounded because his comrades were hit by this thing, and their bones were splittering, and he got bone splinters from his dead friends into his arm, and these wounded him. So, yeah, guess how dangerous this motherfucking thing is? If it wounds you, if it basically deals area damage. Yeah, that's so insane. But in the game, they deal the same damage as a normal. Well, they deal the same damage as basically in a strong assault rifle, or a bit higher. Just yeah, it's ridiculous. Also, their precision on a higher distance, on longer distances, is just way. Their dispersion is way too high. Yeah, look at this shot deviation 48. In real life, machine guns have some of the lowest shot deviations possible. Once again, thanks to their insanely long and very stable barrels. Also, if used and mounted. Also, since they have strong ammunition. So, yeah, like these things are in a heavily nerfed state. Only thing that's not nerfed is their recoil. In real life, it would be higher than Enlisted, but still. Now, all of this combined means if we want more interesting games on high BR, we need more machine gun action. Yes, and the best way is to actually add the good machine guns. Americans already have it. They already have the BR3 machine guns that everyone's playing because they're ridiculously fun. Very iconic and also strong. It's basically an FG42 in BR3 that you can only put on machine gunners. Very good, alright. But the Germans were missing out on their famous MG42s with 100 rounds. Yes, and now we're gonna get them. Now what does this mean? This means A, in the first weeks, everyone is gonna play them because they're fun, because they're new. And B, later onwards, people will still play them. You're gonna see more machine gunner squads and less brain-rotty 9-man rifleman spam, having like multiple rifleman squads. Yeah, like games will be more interesting. You're gonna get more interesting stuff in high BR. And also, it's not really a problem of... It's actually not a problem of power creep, because this one goes against power creep. Because the big power creep is already the FG42 spam, and people playing machine gunner squads with stronger machine guns than now will be still less power than 9-man rifleman squads with FG42s. So yeah, this is going to be great. Game is going to be more diversified in terms of which strategies are used, and in terms of interesting situations. And also more strategic and more slow, because machine guns are obviously perfect on defense, especially if you build your heavy machine gun nests. Yeah, and other rifles without the movement speed penalty that machine guns have. Other rifles, well, they are fast. They lead to very offensive, constant attacking, constant flanking. Machine guns, though, significantly incentivize you to be more strategic and plan ahead and be more positional. So yeah, this is a great change, which will make the game more fun. Though, well, few nations get them, but well, guess what? Germans get a new machine gun, the Japanese will get one for BR5, which is also cool, since currently they have their Type 100. Now they're gonna get another one. I'm quite sure you can just dual wield them. Since, depending on the characteristics, the one which is better on long range you play as a primary, the one you play as a secondary. And since it says nominally 50 round magazine, I'm quite sure you won't even get the penalty for ammunition, and then you just get a very nice big amount of ammunition overall for as a Japanese player. So yeah. And also for those who want to go completely insane regarding regarding history, well, the Americans will get their... It's not really written here, but they will get the premium squad with copied MG42s 100 that the Americans allegedly built. Yeah, so even as an American in Burma, you will be able to play something like an MG42. I saved up the best for the end, because this is by far the biggest change that will affect every player, since the first two changes don't affect players who don't play planes, at least not directly, and players who don't play high BR games also won't be affected by these new machine guns, but this one will affect everyone. And it's the change to event and premium squads regarding additional slots. Now what does this mean? Under the new rule, which is not 100% verified yet, because there might be some changes coming to it, though it's likely the way it was depicted. Under the new rule, if you have a premium or event squad, doesn't matter. Except for some exceptions, you will see one slot added to the squad. For example, this is a 5-man machine gunner squad, which will get another slot, so it will turn into a 6-man squad. And the additional slot will be either an engineer or anti-tank gunner. Now it's not completely set yet whether it forces you to have either just one of them. For example, since I already have 2 engineers, it might be that I'd only be allowed to add an anti-tank gunner, though it would be perfect if you can add whatever you want, because you want to have as many engineers as possible in the squad. Currently, they won't get the squad intrinsic special weapon, so you will have to give him any weapon of your choice, which is, yeah, you try to have just another one of the special weapons, because that's the reason you buy these squads. But okay, though it's not much of a problem if you just put it as an engineer, and you always play the other soldiers, and let the first engineer just build whatever you place on the ground. So yeah. This will make all the premium and event squads stronger, not just numerically, but also in terms of how they perform, since having multiple engineers is obviously perfect, since you never want only one engineer in your squads. You want always 2, if possible, of course, it's not always possible. And then you just take the second engineer, and what you do is you start a game, and you run somewhere, and you place a structure quickly. Most of the time it will be a rally point, and you place it, and you click X, and you order your other engineer to finish it. And guess what? Now you can go away and build something else. And this way you can build twice as much in the same time. Now this is extremely useful. Or if you're an attacker, you can just place your rally point and rush and attack the enemy without being slowed down for like 10 valuable seconds. Yeah, this changes a lot. Having multiple engineers in a squad, extremely strong and also very fun and comfy to play. There are many squads in the game right now that are barely playable because they just have way too few soldiers. For example, this squad, very cool and fun, but it's just 5 soldiers. A normal machine gunner squad has 7. And he has the engineer radio man combo, yeah, which you don't have here. So this is just very sad. And there's always the big decision, why should I spend a lot of money for a small squad? Yeah, it has a strong weapon, but I can just get a stronger squad and the effect will be the same, because whether I have a strong weapon on few soldiers or good weapons on 7 soldiers, well, guess what? The bigger squad will usually win. Yeah, but this will be improved now since all of these special little squads will become more viable. And of course the additional specialist is extremely useful. So yeah, these squads will be much better. Now, some squads are already good enough to be played, but others are not. Now, which ones are these? First of all, many squads don't fall under this new rule, and these are obvious cases. For example, if you look at 6-man engineer squads, since engineers have already 6-man maximum, if you get a special squad with 6 engineers, you won't get a 7th. Yeah, this would be literal obvious pay to win and completely imbalanced, so no, this won't happen. If a squad already has the maximum squad size as a special squad, it won't increase with the new rule. This especially affects paratroopers, which obviously won't get a 7th soldier. This affects also snipers. So since they are limited to 5 soldiers, they won't get a 6th one. Yeah, they won't. Makes sense, yeah, like obvious. Also soldiers like medics, limited to 5 soldiers. If you have a special medic squad, it will stay on 5 soldiers. Also radio man and so on. Then there are some classes that have something like a, well, issue in terms of game design. For example, the Soviet medics, the female Soviet medic squad won't, where is it by the way? I guess it's here. Yes, this squad won't get a 5th soldier, mostly because there's not enough female models in the game. Yes, now this is obviously a stupid reason because you can literally copy paste the face and no one will notice because they already look all the same. They already look all the same. And even if it was a problem, functionality is more important than looks. Except for random Apple cultists, but yeah, for every normal person, it's more important to get a good squad than a squad that looks a bit off. Yeah, so yeah, these squads are also schlonked from by this in this new change because they won't be included, and also some other squads. There are like some exceptions. For example, some assaulter squads won't get an improvement. It's questionable whether the Silent Hunter squads will get an additional slot since they already have an engineer and a tank gunner. Though I hope very much they will get one. I read somewhere it might not affect assaulter squads, which would be sad because all of these little special assaulter squads with 5 soldiers will stay on 5, which is, yeah, not something we absolutely necessarily want. Yeah, this squad would definitely profit from a second engineer because it's just so fun. You have these cool looks, you have these cool, not very strong, they're actually weaker than normal MP40s, but they're just very cool. Yeah, everyone loves these and they look very nice, especially on your soldiers. Yeah, look at this dude. Look at this dude. And they of course have universal engineers, which can build everything. And if you see me shooting down stuff on low BR with anti-air guns, 50% of the time they were built with this squad and not with normal engineer squads. Yeah, so a second engineer would be great, though it's yeah, we're not quite sure yet. I hope it will happen. So yeah, now what does this change? What's the impact of this change on Enlisted games? Well, you're gonna see next week many more special fancy squads running around the battlefield, which is in multiple ways great for the game. A, it's more fun and interesting to see different squads and not always the same. Once again, the more monotonous a game is, the lower quality the game is, the lower intellectually stimulating it is, the lower IQ it is to play always the same stuff, and the more boring it is. So you want different things going on the battlefield, much more interesting, much more fun. And from a strategic standpoint, since a higher density of special squads means it's still less soldiers running around on the battlefield, it can increase the performance for some players, since there's less stuff to compute in the game. It might increase the server quality of Enlisted games because Enlisted servers are, well, known to be very low quality, so having possibly 5 to 10% less soldiers on the battlefield could be a significant boost to server performance. And the games will be a bit slower. Possibly, not sure. Why? Very simple. If there's less stuff running around, it will be slower to cap objectives. And yeah, since defenders usually have the advantage and they usually have better logistics and they're faster on the objective, it can mean that capping will be faster and it will be harder and slower. Making games once again more strategic, more demanding regarding building flanks, building rally points and so on. Which also means that tanks will be strong. Oh, finally we found a very indirect buff to tanks. If infantry gets weaker, well, tanks get relatively stronger. Since, yeah, the less stuff that can, well, they have less stuff to kill, yes, but weakening infantry always means that you can just blow up. You have an easier time rushing into objectives. Though, since all of these event and premium squads usually can build anti-tank guns, oh, it means that tanks could be in a harder position. Now, optimally speaking, all of these premium and event squads are gonna drop anti-tank guns, sniping gray zone tanks, meaning gray zone camping will be less common, forcing all of those tanks to be more mobile and rushing around the battlefield and creating more damage next to the objectives, which would be perfect, because then the games will be more fun and more interactive instead of just boring camping. Very boring, lowbrow way of playing Enlisted. So yeah, this is the main change. Also, more special weapons might mean there will be actually more kills, so the games could be accelerated by this effect. Because there are less soldiers on the battlefield, and having special weapons, especially stuff like the like the fancy machine guns and stuff like that. Or, for example, things like quite cool machine guns on lower BRs that you usually wouldn't get. Well, yeah, this also increases the power level, especially on lower BRs. So we can expect a higher power level and also more kills. Now, combined with smaller squad size, this means that games could actually be faster. So you see diverging effects. On one hand, games can be faster. On the other hand, games can be slower. Can we predict what's going to be overall the net effect? No, we can't. We just need to wait and see what happens. Yeah, but this is the interesting part. We don't know what's going to happen, which is, yeah, good, which is better than just being able to perfectly predict the future, as games are meant to be fun and surprising. Now, one last little problem with these squads is some squads were already buffed a while ago by being added a special engineer slot. For example, this squad was so, well, very old and ridiculously underpowered. It was literally a machine gunner squad with just 4 machine gunners. Now guess how damn bad this is. Guess how, look at their uniforms, by the way, very cool, their heads are cool, but they have a very cool icon. But they have just the horrible 4 machine gun setup. Now they received an engineer, and you can see he doesn't get the cool machine gun. Nope, he literally has to be equipped by yourself. And since he's so sad, I gave him a fancy pistol, though it's not too fancy. Yep, the question is, do these squads also get the additional engineer or anti-tank gunner or not? Because if they won't, well, these squads will be the big losers, since they already received the buff. But if that's the reason why they don't receive another buff, it would be stupid, since these squads are still underpowered as hell, because they were absolutely underpowered beforehand. Alright, we don't know yet, but we're gonna see. And I can't wait for the new Enlisted, because this is gonna be a much better Enlisted than right now. Alright, that's it. There's not much else. Let me know what you think, and what you predict, and what your balance ideas are, and what you and your strategies are for the upcoming updates. I'm gonna obviously show all the new stuff. I didn't waste any time dabbling into the test server, since A, it's insanely a ton of much work for very little profit, let's put it this way, because there's still, everything can be changed, and I don't want to show you stuff that people expect to be in the game, but then something gets changed quickly, and then, yeah, it's just stupid. So I'd rather show you the final product, and I'm gonna show you all the cool stuff, especially MG42 gaming, and also my, as asked for, my lineups for the armies I'm playing. Obviously I can't do it now, since, yeah, literally everything's going to change. But yeah, I'm gonna show you some cool and fun setups with and without special squads, so you can just copy them in a quick short video sometimes in the future, but until the end of this year. And then you can just see if they're fun for you too. I can assure you they are fun, because I'm maximizing them for fun and not for power. Alright? Until soon, and goodbye.